9. Justice and accountability. Justice and accountability ensures that those responsible for atrocities are investigated and prosecuted. Chad's experience offers a landmark example. Former President of Chad, Hissène Habré, seized power in 1982 and ruled until 1990, presiding over a regime of terror. An estimated 40,000 people were killed, while hundreds of thousands were tortured, raped, or disappeared. When he was overthrown, Habré fled into exile in Senegal, where he lived comfortably for decades. For years, survivors and human rights groups demanded justice. After sustained international pressure, Senegal, acting under an African Union mandate, finally agreed to prosecute him. In May 2016, Habré was convicted of crimes against humanity, war crimes, and torture, including sexual slavery, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. It was the first time an African court tried a former head of state from another African country. The case set a historic precedent, showing that Africa could lead the way in delivering justice for its own people. 10. Political and institutional reforms. You see, after conflict, rebuilding institutions is essential. This means reforming constitutions, justice systems, and security forces to prevent future abuses of power. It also requires vetting corrupt or abusive officials and creating inclusive governments where all groups have a voice. Tunisia shows how this can be done. In December 2010, a young street vendor set himself on fire to protest police harassment and economic hardship. His act ignited mass protest that toppled President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali, ending 23 years of authoritarian rule. In the aftermath, Tunisia established an inclusive National Constituent Assembly to draft a new constitution. The reforms guaranteed human rights, strengthened checks and balances, and limited presidential powers, laying the groundwork for more accountable governance. 11. Human and people's rights. Conflict often strips people of their most basic rights: education, housing, dignity, and safety. The human and people's rights element of the African Union Transitional Justice Policy focuses on restoring those rights and protecting the most vulnerable, especially women, children, displaced persons, and marginalized communities. It also works to strengthen institutions so that abuses do not repeat. Kenya's story shows this in action. At independence in 1963, the country inherited a centralized and increasingly authoritarian system. Over the years, presidents amassed enormous power, eroding parliament, the judiciary, and other oversight bodies. Corruption, ethnic exclusion, land injustices, and political violence, especially after the 2007 to 2008 post-election crisis, sparked calls for a new social contract. The result was the 2010 Constitution, the product of decades of struggle by civil society, opposition leaders, and ordinary citizens. Widely seen as one of Africa's most progressive constitutions, it expanded rights through a robust Bill of Rights, and strengthen independent institutions, especially the judiciary and human rights bodies, to protect citizens and safeguard democracy.